Entrepreneurs are more similar than they are different. And two people in a garage here are not that different from two people in a garage in Silicon Valley. And so the world truly is flat. And now that you can get all these tools online through open source, maybe Silicon Valley has some advantages, obviously, because of the venture capital community and all that. But then there's disadvantages, like there's much greater competition. My only advice would be that people should not be content to simply copy a Silicon Valley idea. Yeah. That the test for them is to create an idea that Silicon Valley copies. Yeah. That's the test. One of my recommendations to speakers is they do what I did, which is I came in one day early and I specifically took pictures that I knew I would use in this presentation for the purpose of starting off my slides with that. And I think it builds a great connection with the audience to show that the person visited and took pictures and at least tried to get exposure to the culture. I don't think many speakers do that. In the old days, marketing was top down, and you'd have to suck up to someone who worked for Wall Street Journal, Fortune, Forbes, all the big papers, maybe some of you. But now, because of Twitter and Facebook, it's just as likely that people who are unknown are going to build your brand than it is to think that someone who works for a large newspaper is going to bless you and that's going to make you successful. So the way I say this is nobodies are the new somebodies. And so I think marketing to the community, which is a bunch of nobodies really, right, is the key. Because those people truly understand what you do. They truly use, most journalists, if they review a product, they use it for a week or two and then they're on to the next one. They're not power users, right? So truly people who understand your product are power users. And so I believe in bottom-up marketing, not top-down marketing. And if you believe in bottom-up marketing, it's community. It's all community. Evangelizing is convincing people to believe in your dream as much as you believe in your dream. So I was trying to convince people to believe in Apple and Macintosh as much as I believed in Apple and Macintosh. The key to evangelism is a great product, because it's very easy to evangelize something great. It's very hard to evangelize crap. I'm not a visionary. And I'm basically a marketing person. And so I don't claim to be able to predict the future at all. But the obvious is that things will get better, faster, and cheaper. Products and services that deserve to make it. And I cannot tell you any really examples of products that I thought were great that died because of lack of funding. So now, of course, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't succeed, you're probably not going to say my product was crap. You're probably going to say stupid investors didn't invest, right? It's just human nature. So I guess I just believe that, I believe in destiny to some extent. Now, that's not to say that you don't have to work hard and all that, but I think great products have a destiny. It is cheaper to start a company now than ever because tools are open source, so they're free. In the United States anyway, with the recession, people are cheap or free because they're all not working. Office space is either not necessary because you're a virtual team, or office space is cheap because there's a lot of office space. Marketing is free or cheap now with Twitter and Facebook. So basically everything is free or cheap. So this doesn't mean it takes no money to start a company, but it is far less than before. And so, you know, if push comes to shove, if you really believe and you can't get money and it's really great, move to Silicon Valley. You know, if you wanted to be a movie star, you move to Hollywood, right? You asking me about information overload is like asking a drug addict about drugs, okay?
Do you like it?
I am not, yeah, I'm not qualified to answer. What can I say? I mean, you could make the case that I cause information overload. I mean, you're looking at a guy who has 80,000 tweets, right? So I don't want to be a hypocrite. Did you think my presentation was funny? Honestly, in a keynote session like this, I think it should be 80% entertainment, 20% information. And most people would disagree with that. Most people think it should be 80% information. So that's when they start talking, you know, they use words like strategic, and they use like a lot of acronyms, you know, IEEE standards, and, you know, VoIP and all that kind of stuff, which I never do. So in a keynote session, I think it's all about entertainment. And if the audience is entertained, they will retain some information. But if you just throw information at them and you don't entertain them, they won't retain anything. So I work very hard on entertaining my audience. I believe when I do this kind of thing, I believe I'm an entertainer, not an information source. Now, in this kind of audience, you cannot simply go up there and tell jokes for 60 minutes, right? But entertainment is really, I think it's at the core of my message. And if I may flatter myself, I have both information and entertainment. Most people only have one or the other. So that speech you saw today, I have given hundreds of times, literally hundreds of times. And so I know every joke, every line, everything. And it takes hundreds of times to do it. You know, I'm going to take a picture of you guys because I want to show people what it's like to be in a press conference in Peru.